And we're back for another one of these beginners videos. I'm not even going to call it a tutorial because I don't consider myself good enough to be teaching anybody. I'm going to show you what I do to model this. I'm going to make a book, which I've done videos on before, closed book. I'm going to make a pencil, which I made videos on before, and I'm going to make a compass. And it's all going to be in Blender, and I'm going to be using probably that default shader. All right, this is not a materials video. It's just going to be basically what you see. But before we get started, I do want to just quickly say that I'm really happy about the fact that people are watching some of my Blender videos, because really, career-wise, I was a high school biology teacher for 25 years. I've been retired for just over a year. And on the side, I was a musician. And so some of you may have found my channel and seen the music on it. That's really what I do. Although I haven't done any lately because I've got a 9.5-month daughter, which I've mentioned before. And I can't manage to do the music. As I always say, 3D is a lot quieter. But I do this as a hobby. I do music as a hobby too, but it's, you know, there's a lot more experience doing the music. But I'm doing this for fun, and I'm not taking it too seriously, and I'm having a good time, and I'm super glad that some of you guys are too. And so if there's something that I do that inspires you to create your own stuff, that's awesome. Of course, I welcome the tips and the comments. There's lots of different ways to do things, and there's better ways than the ways I'm doing it, faster and maybe more correct. But that's okay. All right, as long as we get the job done and it looks decent, that's good enough. So it's simple stuff, but using a lot of techniques. I mean, we're going to be doing extrusions and scaling, and I'm going to be using the spin modifier and subdivision surfaces, various mesh primitives and modifying them, and a couple of different beveling techniques, whether by hand or using the bevel modifier. So there's a lot of stuff going on, but it's all very basic stuff. All right, so this is the sort of little mini scene that we're going for. And there's just another view in a closed book with maybe a piece of paper, rather thick piece of paper, or maybe it's a postcard or something like that, with a pencil and a compass that's open and closed. Now you're going to note that all of this stuff is 3D. There's no image maps or shrink wrapped text, because I'm not using any materials. All right, so I've had to do it all in 3D, and you may think it looks okay, and you may not. But you know, it looks okay to me. It's just something fun to do. All right, so here we are in Blender. I'm in top ortho view right now. I'm not sure if I'm going to stay there. We got my screencast keys on, and I think what I'm going to do first of all is I'm going to go to the display tab, and if you didn't know, excuse me, I hit the N key. You can see right down here to open this side panel. All right, I've done it 4 times now, and I've already chosen a matte cap shader or I guess material, whatever, with ambient occlusion, and I click on it, and I've chosen that one I like to use. All right, but what I do want to do is in the display tab here, I want to turn off the grid floor. All right, so when I'm in this view, you're not going to see the grid. All right, well, I am going to create a closed book. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to go Shift A, and that's going to bring up the add menu. Okay, so the hotkey, whoops, is Shift A. I'm going to go to Mesh, and I am going to choose a circle. So I see my circle right there, and I'm not going to change the default size. I'm just going to go with that size. So it's just a circle. It's not filled or anything. I'm going to hit the Tab key to open my menu. That gives me the chance to go between Edit and Object Mode. Those are mostly the ones I use when I do that. You can also get to those down here. Okay, if you choose there, you can go to Edit Mode that way. All right. If you go Control Tab, okay, see over here, Control Tab, that will bring up the Mesh Select mode, and I can select Vertex or or edge, I'll put that again, or face. Well, there's no faces right now. I want to be in vertex select mode right now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to box select all of these vertices, and I'm leaving the one here that would be sort of, if I extended it, it would be horizontal and horizontal, all right, or the ones right on the y-axis, whatever, if you prefer. And I'm going to delete those vertices. So now I just have this. So if I hit A, I can select all of them. Excuse me. We're all kind of sick in the house, and the weather's been crazy out here, so I might be coughing a bit. Anyhow, you'll notice that my 3D cursor, first of all, is still at the origin, or at the center, or whatever. Yeah, I should say at the center of my stage. But the origin of my mesh is over here. I want to move my origin. There it is. It pops back to there. Sorry, it's fine. It's right there. It's just when I go into edit mode, there it is there. But what I really want to do is I want to come down here and I want to switch the pivot point to the 3D cursor, and that will pop that origin over to there. So that means it's going to pivot from this spot. So what that means is I can go scale in the X, and as I pull my mouse in, it pulls all those points towards the center. So what I'm creating here is the sort of the spine or the back of a book. All right, so I want it to be less round than it was. I mean, there's no book that's going to be like that. So I'm scaling the X, and I pull my mouse up. I'm not pressing any buttons. I'm just moving the mouse, and it moves it to, there. And this can all be adjusted in a bit. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit E to extrude and hit the left mouse button to accept, and I'm going to hit the scale button. And I'm just pulling down now. I just hit S and I'm just pulling down, and you'll notice that these new points are extruding upwards vertically and downwards vertically, perfectly straight, which is great. So I've got some thickness here, but it's not equal, so I'm also going to scale S and in the X direction, and I'm going to pull out till it's roughly equal. Okay, like that. Okay, now what I'm going to do is again, I've done videos on this already. I am going to Shift and Alt and select that line. Okay, so if I hold Shift and Alt and I click anywhere along here, it selects this whole row of vertices. I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to hit F, and that will complete it by making this a face. So deselect. All right, so I held Shift Alt and on this line, and I hit F, and that put a face in there. Okay, so now I'm going to hit the B for box select, and I'm going to draw out a rectangle. I'm holding on the left mouse button, and I'm selecting just these vertices. Now don't get these ones as well, just the ones in a straight line. All of these are in a straight line. Okay, and I'm going to extrude these outwards like this. So I'm going to hit E, and I'm going to pull on the X. So I get this. All right. All right. Now, this is just a flat piece, so we need to give it some thickness. So I'm going to go E to extrude, and I'm going to pull up this way. Didn't do it yet. E to extrude, and I'm going to extrude up like this. Okay, turn around, have a look at this thing. All right, it's starting to look like it would be a book, starting to. So I'm going to hit N, or select it all and Control N, just to make my normals consistent. They are, so that's fine. Now let's go back to object mode and have a look at this. All right, I need to squish this down, so I'm going to go Scale Y. I'm going to squish this down, and you'll see that it starts to look a little bit like a book. Let's shorten it, scale it in the X, bring it back, and my pivot point is still there. That's fine. Is that starting to look like a book? It's a thick book. Scale in the Y. Let's make it a little bit thinner. No one wants to read a book that thick. All right, now it's really starting to look like a book. I'm going to leave my pivot point there because I actually find this is too round. So let's go back to the top view, where we were. You don't have to do this in top view, but let's go into edit mode, and I want to, sorry about that, I want to select these vertices. I want to scale them more in the X towards this point to make this a little bit less round. But you'll notice that if I just hit the box select and I select them, I only get the front vertices. In order to get all of them, I'm going to go Z and choose wireframe. Okay, press Z and that'll switch you to wireframe. Box select all these vertices and go scale in the X. And that will pull them in like that. Deselect, go back to solid view, Z and choose solid, and go back to object mode. And now it's looking more like a book. Sort of. Yeah, I think that's probably okay. All right, well, let's do some more. Let's create the covers and the paper. And the way we'll do this is switch back to median point. That's the default. I'm going to set the origin of this whole thing to the geometry. And I'm going to go into edit mode, and in face select mode, okay, so I did Control Tab, choose face select mode. I'm going to choose the faces that would make up the paper on the inside of the book. So don't forget these end ones right here, okay, and make sure that you're in median point here. Okay, now to make the paper, all I have to do is hit E to extrude and accept, and press S to scale and move your mouse in. You're not scaling in any particular direction. Just move your mouse in a little bit. Let's say like that. I'm going to deselect it, come out and look at that. That looks okay. I could have gone in a little bit more, but let's try that. Okay, now I think let's save, and I'm going to set geometry to origin. Let's put origin to 3D cursor. First of all, so my origin is there, geometry origin, so I got my book more in the center. Jeez. Control S and save. Now I'm in a weird orientation. I'm going to be changing that soon, I imagine. Or no, I'm not actually. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Okay, well, before we do that, let's do some beveling. So let's go to edit mode. Actually, before we even do that, object, apply, scale. All right, because I've changed the scale of my object as I pulled it this way and that will sort of zero it out. Okay, I want to round some corners. I'm going to go to edge select mode. I'm going to choose this corner of the cover and that corner. Do I want to do the paper as well? No, I'm not going to do the paper as well. That corner and that corner. I'll leave the paper for now. We'll see. Okay, so all of the vertical edges, Control B. So this is manual beveling. All right, Control B, and it sets this. You see the dotted line and the cross. I'm going to pull my mouse back, and you can start to see that it's sort of cutting off those edges, and then you roll your mouse up to maybe 3 times, and you pull back a little bit more, and that will have rounded. I'm going back to object mode. Rounded those edges, makes them look a little bit better. Now, maybe you don't like it with the straight paper. Sometimes I bevel that as well. I'm just going to leave it this time. But I also don't want the edges of the book sharp, so I'm going to go back into edit mode, and I'm going to Shift Alt and click on the edge. So if you're not in edge, if you're here, just go to edge select mode, Shift Alt, and you will see that some of this is selected, the white and the yellow all the way around here, but it didn't select anything down here and around there. So I'm going to Shift Alt, click there as well, and it starts to complete the selection going around. Oh, it didn't get it here, so I'm going to click here, and it often will go back up into your curve. So I'm selecting all the line all the way around. It didn't get the back here. Whoops, not that one, just Control Z and that. Okay, so I want that, but I also want the underside. So without losing that, Shift Alt, click on that and that, going all the way around, and we got it all, I think. Okay, the top and the bottom cover. So I'm just going to leave it in an orientation that looks reasonable for me, and I'm going to go Control B again. Control B, pull back on my mouse. Oops, not too much, just a little bit. Put maybe one segment in, roll my mouse up one, and let's have a look at that. Now I beveled all around, and now it looks like a book. Save it. You can hit smooth if you want, and you will get some things like that. If you do, you can try, you know, if it looks funny, you can try the modifiers, edge split, and see if that clears it up for you. And it seems to have, in my case, except for the surface of the book there. And in that case, I tend to go to this icon. Let's try 25. And didn't do it. I have a way to fix that later. I'm not going to worry about that right now. And I don't even need smoothing on right now. Okay, or edge split for that matter. So I'll get rid of that. We'll come back to some of that if necessary. Now, I want to do this in top view. So I want to rotate X90. I want to rotate my book. Set origin to geometry. Okay. Actually, let's try setting origin to 3D cursor and set geometry to origin. Just pops it a little bit more in the center. Okay, so there's my book. And we're ready to go. All right, cool. I think what we'll do is I'll model the pencil next. I'm going to come to another layer, top view, because my pencil will lay on top of the book. And the way I'll do this is I'm going to go Shift A to get the add mesh cylinder. But instead of this round cylinder with 32 vertices, I'm going to go 8. See how well that works. Or do I want 6? No, I think I want 8. Okay. I'm going to turn my mouse so I can look at the side, or I can hit any of these side buttons. I hit 3 there. I'm going to scale it so it's a little thinner. And then I'm going to scale it in the Z so it's a little bit longer. Just any amount is fine. Okay, I'm going to zoom in. And I'm going to go into edit mode. Now, I want to deselect everything and select this top edge. So I Shift Alt and I get the whole top edge. And then I'm going to bevel this. Watch what I do. I'm going to go Control B. I'm going to pull down, and look, it starts to look like a pencil. Now, don't make it super sharp. Just go to, you know, maybe around there. Leave it at that. Okay, deselect. Now what I'm going to do is go into vertex selection mode, and I'm going to grab every other vertex. So I hold down the Shift button and I get, whoops, not that one, every other vertex. So there should be 4 with 1 unselected in between. All right, and now I'm going to pull down in the Z direction to do something like this. Done. Now, I'm also going to add an edge loop in here, Control R, and it's going to look really weird. It's not going to look like a straight line because of what I've done. I'm just going to do this, and this is going to show, I'm deselecting now, and I'll go into face select. It's going to show where the lead of the pencil would be, and this would be the pencil part, and then the other color. I'm not putting any materials on this, but I want it to show up a little bit, so I was thinking I could select all these polys and maybe scale them in a little bit, and you might see a bit of a difference between those areas. So the way I'll select them all, instead of going that one and then Shift and then that one and that one, deselect, is I'll just Shift Alt and click right in the middle here, and it should get them all. All right, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit E to extrude and then scale, but I don't want to scale in the Z direction, up or down, just sort of in, equally all around, but not up and down. So I'm going to go S for scale, and I'm going to hit Shift Z. That blocks it from scaling in the Z direction. And now I'm going to pull my mouse in a little bit. Okay, no, that didn't work, did it? Why didn't that work? E, scale, Shift Z. There, that worked. Okay, I'm just pulling them in a little bit. Like that, and then I'll get this line here. Now if I come out and have a look, it's not that visible. I could try to bevel this edge. Now the edge that I would bevel is the outer one there. So I Shift Alt and click that, and let's see if I can bevel it. So I'm going to go Control B and pull down a little bit, and I don't think it's looking very good. I want to do something. I want to go Object, Apply, Scale on this as well. And then I'm going to come back, Control B, I'm going to try, it looks mostly the same, it's probably fine. I'm going to put just one segment, but not too big. And that will catch a little bit of light, and it might be visible from out in space when we see it, and it might not. But anyways, there's the beginning of the pencil. Okay. All right, let's go back to the side view that we were looking at and select the pencil and go back into edit mode. I'm in edge selection, so I'm just going to grab that edge, which is all the way around, and it actually gets the poly as well. And I'm going to make the pencil a bit longer. I'm going to pull it down like this. Just a decent length. And then I'm going to make a cut here and expand this area to represent the eraser. And then I'll do the metal part. Okay, so I'm going to go Control R to put an edge loop, and I'm going to pull down to maybe around there for the eraser. Now this is still in a weird, it goes up and down because of what I did here. I can make this straight if I want to, because if you look at the Z axis here, right, some of these points, let's go to vertex mode, some of these points are higher than others in the Z direction. So if I scale them all to Z equals 0, they'll all be in a straight line. And this is how you do it. Okay, you look at which axis you want them to be straight in, and you go S, Z, 0. And notice they all flattened out. Okay, so let's do that again. If I do SY 0, that's not what I want, right? Okay, so I want to do it in the Z direction because this is a certain Z height up. This is a certain Z height up. You know, that kind of thing. In fact, if I deselect, if I was to take this and pull it all up there, you know, that would be at a different one. So if I did scale Z 0, no, I got to select them all first. Scale Z 0, they'd all come back down. Okay, so that's how you could straighten stuff out. And if you don't like the position, if you want it a little bit lower, you can pull it, wherever. So I'll put it there. So I'm going to make the eraser, and the way I'm going to do that is switch to face view and click Shift Alt and click to select the whole row all around. And I'm going to make this a bit bigger. So I'm going to go E to extrude, and I want to scale it in the X and Y again, but not in the Z. So I'm going to go Scale S, Shift Z. I'm going to pull out just a little bit, and that would form the eraser. But I don't like these sharp edges, so I'm going to go into edge mode, and I'm going to grab the outer edge, and I'm going to bevel it to make it a little bit rounder or smoother. So I've selected it all around. I'm going to go Control B, pull back. Okay, don't pull back like that, you know, just a little bit so it doesn't touch. Let me show you. So it doesn't touch this inner line. All right, so Control B, pull back about that. One segment is probably good enough. Okay, and you can see it's already catching some light, so that looks like another part of the pencil. Now, you know what? The end of this is still very sharp. What have I done here? Yeah. So I'm going to grab this outer edge and try to bevel that. Okay, not too much. Again, I don't want it to go over. Maybe that. Roll my mouse up one segment. And now I'll have a slight bit of softening, rounding there. Okay, so that's what the eraser would look like. You know, this is, you know, it's a cartoon pencil. Now, I also want to do where the metal would go. So I'm going to select this, go back into edit mode, and I am going to put an edge loop in somewhere, let's say around there, you know, and the metal part would be there, which would connect. But again, you'll notice it's all wavy, so Scale Shift Z. No, that's not what it is. Scale Z 0. Okay, so it's straight. Okay, I didn't have to go to face selection mode. Now, I want to do something in here to simulate the metal piece. And you know the way the metal on a pencil that holds the eraser, it probably actually should go over this, but I'm not going to do that. You know the way the metal kind of goes in and out and in and out, that kind of thing. The way I'm going to do that is I'm going to hover my mouse over in this section, Control R, and I'm going to roll this up as many times as I want. A few times, a bunch of times. What have I got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Fine. I'm going to select. I'm going to deselect. I've done it. Now, in edge mode, I'm going to Shift Alt and click that one, and this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one. I want to pull these in. Now, let me see if I can just pull them in without going in the Z direction. Scale Shift Z. Now, if I do that, I get just the whole region going in. I don't want that. So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a beveling, and then I'm going to pull in. So watch what happens. Select the edge loops I put in. And if I don't want to select them all, I don't have to. I can do this one and this one and this one, and that's it. But I'm going to do them all. Okay, select all the edge loops. And then I'm going to go Control B, pull back, and you'll see a widening area in blue there. Choose a width you like, and then roll your mouse up 1. It'll put a line right in between. Now, I'm going to bring it a little bit closer and stop. The new edge that I roll my mouse up gave me this. I now have these two edges on the other side. So, deselect, come back in and choose just the new middle one. And when I scale these in, these outer edges will stop the whole thing from coming in. I'll show you. I'm going to scale, but Shift Z, not in the Z. Scale, Shift Z. Now watch what happens. Okay, see the way they stay right here. They're anchored at that point and that point and that point and that point. And this gives us the little grooves in there, like that. Now they're very sharp at this point, and if I really had my wits about me, I would select that edge and that edge, this one and this one, this one and this one, all the ones on the outside of the indentation that I just pulled in. All right, we'll give it a try. And I would go Control B, and I would bevel again, pull back a little bit like that, not too much. Roll your mouse up 1, deselect, and that would round them. See the light that's being cast? It rounds them a little bit and softens them. Save that. And I think I could go with that. Now that is a stylized pencil. Now, I'm starting to wonder if maybe this area up here could use some treatment like I did here. Maybe I need to select this whole, how would I do this though? How would I do this? I don't want to confuse you. Oh, you know what? I want to get the whole thing. I could do this. I could select this very tip and then go Control plus, and keep doing Control plus until I've got to that point. Control minus takes me back. Control plus to that point. Now if I go beyond that point, Control plus, I select more. This is a selection method to get, so you start at a sort of a central point and you go outwards from that. Okay? If I extrude, hit E to extrude, and scale this all in, I could make this whole top smaller than this. I didn't do that originally, but I'm starting to think I might want to. So I think I want to be on an angle like that. Let's give it a try. Let's go E and accept, scale, Shift Z, and pull in just a little bit. A decent amount so I can start seeing an edge. Let's deselect and see what that looks like. You know, that gives me two of these kind of things, crooked things, and I'm not sure if I really needed it, but I don't know. It's probably all right. Edge select mode, can I bevel this? Outer line, Control B, bevel one segment. Well, geez, now it looks like a weird pencil. I'm just going to leave it because it's almost not visible anyhow. And that's it for the pencil. So top view, I guess we're going to have to rotate this. Rotate X 90. What if I do minus 90? Let's origin to geometry, and let's look with the book. Okay, so we got some work to do here. Let's take the pencil, it's on layer 2, M to move it to layer 1. And there it is. let's move it up and over, and let's scale it down small enough and bring it near the surface. We'll zoom in. We could also rotate it so that one of these flat parts, instead of the point, lays on the book. So let's consider that. The Y is coming out at us, so we're going to rotate Y. Just going to do it by eye. Sort of like that. Okay. And we'll have to do more work after as well on this in terms of its size. But we now have a book and a pencil. All right? Okay, cool. I'll tell you, as I'm looking at this now, I see the eraser outside of the metal area, and I think it sort of looks a little bit weird, but it's a different style of pencil. Okay, so it's time now to work on the compass itself. All right, so I'm going to start with this round area here, and I realized I didn't put the label on the book. Actually, maybe I should be doing that. Let's just do that. Let's probably the cursor. Well, it's at the center there, but that's fine. That's fine. Okay, I'm going to use a plane. I'm going to go Shift A and bring in a plane. I'll bring it up. In top view, I'm going to scale it in the X, scale it in the Y, and I'm going to position it over my book roughly where I want it. I'm going to scale it in the X a little bit more. I want a nice big label that's going to be show up under one of the compasses. So I want it roughly there. Okay. So I am now going to go into edit mode, and I'm going to select this top face, or this only face, extrude, and I'm going to bring it up a little bit, not too much, something like that. I've got to give it some thickness for us to see. All right, and that would be my label. That would sort of go onto the book. Let's get it to make contact with the book, something like that, so you could see it. But I want to round these corners a little bit. So let's go into edit mode, and in edge select mode, select this vertical. I always do the vertical ones first, and then I do the horizontal. So I'm going to do these, and then I'm going to do the top. So I select all four corners, Control B, pull back, and then roll your mouse up 2 or 3 times. Now let's have a look at this. See, it's rounded the corner, but you know what? It hasn't rounded it nicely. Doesn't it look like a weird corner? Control Z to get out of that. That's because I need to go Object, Apply, Scale. Now, do I still have those selected? No. Let's do it again. Let's go make sure we're in edge select mode. Select that one, and that one, and that one, and that guy. Okay, let's turn it like this. Control B, pull, give it a few segments. Let's have a look at it now, and it should be better. Yeah, it's nicely rounded now. Okay, so if that ever happens to you, remember that. Now I'm going back in though, I'm not done. I want to bevel this edge right here. It's too sharp, so I'm going to Shift Alt and click, and it should get the whole thing. Zoom right in, and I'm going to go Control B, pull back until I get something like this, maybe a little bit less. One segment is good enough for these small things. Deselect everything, and there's the label. Now if you want to push it in a bit further, you can do that, you know, because that's fine. You know, it's going to be visible anyhow. Okay, escape, save, save, save. Now that pencil is going to be too big, so I'm going to scale it. Good enough for now. Just get it out of the way. At this point, it is time to create the compass. All right, so I've got a circle here for the base, the bottom, circle for the top. It's a little bit rounded. I'm not going to round them very much. I'll show you what I'm going to do. I want them mostly flat. All right, so I am going to bring in a circle. So I hit Add Mesh, Circle. Let's scale it to the approximate size that we would want, and maybe even the approximate position. All right, it's not critical to do that. And I'm going to start building a compass out of this. So I'm going to go into Edit Mode and select the circle and hit F to make a face. E to extrude, and I'm going to bring it up the approximate thickness that I would want this bottom half of the compass to be. Now I'm going to select it all. So I hit A to deselect, and A again, and Control N just to make sure my normals are consistent, and they seem to be. Now I'm going to go back to object mode and lift it up. I want to round this to some extent. I'm going to do that using bevel. So in edge select mode, I'm going to grab this. I'm going to go Control B, and I'm going to pull up like that a lot, and I'm going to round it like this. Now it's going to be flat here, but that's kind of what I want. I want it rounded but flat enough that I can work with it. Okay. All right, let me bring it down. Rest it right there. Okay, well, here we go. Edit mode. Grab this face. I to inset. I'm going to pull in like this. E to extrude, and I'm going to pull down. Now you can scale a bit if you want. I'm going to hit I. Oops. I to inset again. I'm going to pull a nice lip. A nice region anyhow. E to extrude, and I'm going to pull down. And I'll scale it in a bit like that. Okay, now that's my basic design. Okay, it doesn't look very pretty yet. I'm going to go ahead and I'll show you with subdivision surface. Hit 2 there, and I get something like this. All right, you can also hit smoothing if you want, and you'll get that. So it looks great. Now I'm also going to select this face, and I think I'm going to hit E to extrude and just accept for the moment, and that will flatten that out. And let's save, and let's start top down view. Let's go Shift S, cursor to selected, everything's all lined up, and this seems to be sort of the top of it. Okay, or this end, doesn't really matter. Yeah, maybe I'll go that in. Let's start building the top part here. Okay, so we're going to need to have a cylinder that's going to go all the way to the top through this. Actually, it's going to, we have a few parts to build. So I'm going to have a wide part of a cylinder and a narrow one, and then wider again like that, all the way to the top, and then that. So we can build everything except for this piece and the ring. We can build as one. So wide, small, wide, maybe even the same width. So Shift A, cylinder, 32, great. Scale it down, zoom in. We're going to rotate on the Y, rotate Y 90, bring it up to here, scale it. Okay, let's have a look at the position. Now how be we take that and this, and we move it, M to move, and then click on another layer. So we can just work on this. Okay, great. Let's scale this a little bit more. Okay, and then we'll scale it in the X. So we want just a small piece like that, something like that. Okay, is that, let me look from a side. All right, good. One on that side, not quite in. The rounding is more on the bottom because of the way I beveled it. That's totally fine. Let's go in face select mode. I'm just going to pull it out a little bit. Okay, so it's going to be like that, and then it's going to get, what is it going to get? Narrower? Okay, then it's going to get narrower and then wider again. So let's do that. Okay, and the way I'm going to do this is, let's go to top view again. Actually, no, let's not. select that face, and I'll go to top view. No, I won't. I'm going to make a smaller cylinder, so I to inset and pull it in. And if you want to go smaller than that, go scale shift X. Okay. E to extrude and pull it out like that, let's say. Now I want it to go wider again, so I could just do it like this. I could go E to extrude and scale shift X, and I can just look at how big it is. I can adjust all this. Okay, E to extrude, let's pull it out. Oh, you can find out that's far too wide. I was looking at this area, I thought it was the same width. So I've got this area selected, go Control plus to get all of this, and we can now scale it, but not in the X. Scale shift X. No, we don't want that part. Scale shift X. You know, you can do it like that. We're just eyeballing the the sizes of these things. Now, am I doing this correctly? Big, small, big, and even bigger. Okay, now you might think that's too big. Well, we could certainly change that. Yeah, I might do that a little bit. Scale shift X. I might want it a bit smaller. All right, cool. I do like that. Now, I'm going to want to do the other piece. This thing here, and I think I'll do that as another cylinder. But you know, instead of bringing in another cylinder and positioning it, just do this. Take that face and go Shift D to copy it, P to separate it into a new selection. Come to object mode, and there it is. Set the origin to geometry. There, I've just copied that piece. I can build another cylinder, you know, right from that. In fact, I'm just going to go like this, scale. I'm going to make it wider. Go into edit mode, select it, E to extrude. I'm going to pull it out. Done, just like that. Okay, I can maneuver it. See that? It's much better. Okay, I want more room, so I'm going to grab this, grab that face, pull it out. If it's too long, I can fix that. Pull that up to here, somewhere there, not really that far, because I want the ring to attach there. Okay, I get it. I want this smaller then. Maybe there. I want this beveled, so Control B, I'm going to bevel this. Not sure if it's beveling right. Let's have another look. Yeah, it's beveling okay. Although, you know what? Let's go to Object, Apply. Oops. Apply Scale. And let's bevel it again. Yeah, I was having some trouble. Just roll your mouse up a couple times. Of course, all of these edges, I'm going to go to Edge mode, need to be beveled. So Shift Alt and select that edge and this edge. Control B, pull back, give it maybe 2 segments. There we go. Okay, and of course this can be smoothed. Okay, and we can deal with, well, let's deal with it right now. Okay, if you get that kind of weird bubbling thing, I mean, you could either put in an edge loop here. You can go Control R and do that. And you might need them at both ends. And once that's done, I'm not going to, the other edge was to use the edge split. And that looks just fine. It's a little bubbly, a little cartoony, but that's the look that I like. Now this is a separate piece, but I kind of want a hole in it, so it actually looks like there's a bit of a hole. I know you'll never see it, but let's just do it anyhow. So let's just make it a bit bigger. Scale Shift X. So we're going to put a hole in it. Let's apply scale to that as well, and let's use this to punch a hole in this. Okay, so choose this. Let's, by the way, do that. Choose this. Go Boolean difference. Okay, and select that, and hit apply. Now, if I hide this, there is a hole. That was H to hide, Alt H to bring it back. I need to make this a bit bigger so I can see the hole. So I'm going to go Scale Shift X. There, you see the hole? Okay, It's not going to be very visible, but whatever. Now this needs to be beveled as well. But there's something else I want to do to this, but I think I'm going to go ahead and bevel this. Take that edge all the way around, and this edge all the way around. And go Control B. And give it a couple of segments, just like that. Okay, so it looks like that. But I want to make this effect here. All right, and the way I'm going to do that is going to Edit Mode and Face Select Mode. And all these polys here, I'm going to extrude. I did the bevel first so that I could get an edge right here and right here, so that when I select my polys, actually they only go down as far as this, as far as those edges. If I didn't bevel and it went all the way to this end, the effect wouldn't be quite as nice. So I'm going to Shift Alt select all those polys, and I'm going to hit I twice. That's cute. I twice. I'm going to move my mouse. What I'm going for is that's what it looked like before when I hit I twice and I move my mouse. I just want to see some separation between them. I just clicked accept, but I haven't deselected them. I wanted that. And now I'm going to come over here to extrude individual. I'm going to click the button and I'm going to pull my mouse down a little bit. So I'm not going to go crazy like that. I'm just going to go like that. Okay? Now don't deselect these yet. After you've done this, now from this point go Control B, pull gently to bevel like this, and I'm going to put one segment in, and now deselect. There. Okay? Save. And you can still position this. There. I can put my hoop there. All right, save, save, save. Let's do that. So the way I'll do this is I want to bring in my hoop close to this, not near the middle. So I'm going to go Shift S, cursor to select. It's going to move the 3D cursor to this area, close enough. So Shift A, let's bring in a torus. It's huge, but before I do anything, I want to make it narrower. Like that. Scale it down. I'm hoping it's not too narrow. It's a little bit narrow, but I think we might be able to use that still. Maybe not. Is that usable? Let's try that. Oops. And scale it down. Okay. And hit smooth. I think that's okay. Yeah, I think that's okay. Let's just look in the context of the book. All right. Very nice. Alrighty, let's keep going. I'm not joining anything yet. Now, before we get too carried away, I better grab this, Shift D to copy, move it up, and make this the lid. Let's rotate it around the Y, rotate Y 180. Done. Let's move it up and we'll just hide it away. Okay, back to this. Shift S, cursor selected, right in the middle. We're going to bring in this little dot like thing here, okay, and then I'll do that thing. Bring that to sort of hold the compass itself, the compass needle. Shift A, cylinder, by the way, is it 32? Yeah. Scale it down right in the middle, pull it up. It's going to need to be scaled down more. Let's scale it up a bit more. Okay, so that's going to sit right there. Now I am going to bevel this. I might as well do object apply scale. Yeah, you'll notice that it changed color. Control N to flip my polys. Edge select mode. Bring it down, give it a few segments, bevel it, and then just come on back up. Okay, so we're going to have that there. Now, before I make the needle, I'm going to create a little clip here that with the top, if the top was to come down, it would sort of clip, you know, the top. All right, let's hide that. So, okay, Shift A. I'm going to bring in a cube. Okay, let's do it this way. We'll scale it in the X and in the Y. And just bring it out. I just want to see how big it is. Scale this in the Z. Get it right up near the top. Okay, and what I'll do, well, I want to go into edit mode, is I'm going to put in an edge loop, and let's accept right there. Grab this face, E to extrude, and I'm going to bring it out. Now I'm going to bring the whole thing up and see if it clears. Yes, it clears. So like that. Now I don't like this shape, so let's just try the default beveler and bevel. Put 2 segments and adjust the width a bit. Maybe scale this in the Y a bit. And yes, it's too big. Let's scale the whole thing down. Okay, it's not long enough. Or is it? Yeah, maybe it is. Maybe it's too much. So, because I haven't applied that bevel, I can still see this. How's that look? Maybe it doesn't have to be that wide either. It can be just a small clip there. In fact, I kind of want to lift this up a bit under here. Like that. Right near the edge. Okay. It's even smaller on that one, maybe even like that. Okay, that's fine. I think it's fine. I hope it's fine. Not very impressive, but that's what it is. All right, so now what we're going to do is we will, let's put in these squares, whatever they are. All right, so we'll go Shift A, cube. Scale it way down. Scale it in the Z as well. Okay, we'll get it pretty close to there. And we're going to add the default bevel to that as well. And that's fine. Scale it in the Z again. I just want it, scale it in the Z even more. Just popping out of there. Okay, this is as long as you can see it. Well, maybe a bit more. Now, hopefully that's big enough. Let me see how big they are here. Okay, we're going to give it a try. So top view, I've got my 3D cursor in the middle of my object. I'm going to select this object. I'm going to apply the bevel. And I'm going to go into edit mode and select the whole thing. Okay? So I'm in edit mode of this object. I'm going to come over here to the mesh tool, spin, and I'm going to choose for my angle 360 degrees. And for my number of steps, I don't know, just increment it as much as you like. How about that? 15. Okay? Now it's done, but then what you have to do is select everything, so just hit A a couple times and remove doubles, and you'll see often there will be doubles removed. You also want to go Control N in case your normals are not consistent. And I've got this. Now it's all one thing. I want to put the origin to geometry, and if I want, I can push the whole thing down further. We'll start it there and we'll see how it goes. All right, let's add the north, south, east, west text, and then we'll make the needle. Okay, so Shift A, text. I'll come over to the text tab and I will choose center, and I will also, where am I? Okay, set origin to geometry, scale, and then position. Zoom in. Everything's on the side, sorry about that. Oh boy. Okay, let's scale a little bit more. So this is the top here, so I'm going to rotate this. Rotate Z 90, minus 90. Oh boy. I should have rotated this whole thing, just because I'm using the book. All right, doesn't matter. Okay, well let's go ahead and edit this to say capital letter N. Okay, so now what we need is to position it as best you can, and we'll choose a font. So I'm going to come over here and hit open, go to my font folder, and look for a cool font, of which I don't have that many, or any cool fonts maybe. What would work on something big and thick? You know, let's try that. It might be kind of boring, but so I'm just going to center this up as best I can, and then I'm going to pull the depth up a little bit and the resolution. I don't want to go too crazy, so maybe 1, and then I'm going to push this down till it touches, sort of like that, and just see if I can see that. I think it needs to be bigger. All right, in fact, significantly bigger. And okay. All right, how about I take that, Shift D, slide it down to here, edit mode, capital S for south. All right, Shift D. I'm going to bring it up here and slide it over. Edit mode, east. Shift D, bring it over here, and W for west. Now position these south, east, west. Not the best font, but you can mess around looking at fonts for a while. Now, what you would then do is you would convert these to a mesh. You go Alt C, mesh from curve, select this one, Alt-C, mesh from curve. This one, Alt-C, mesh from curve. This one, Alt-C, mesh from curve. Okay, you can still move them around. Once you were satisfied, you would select them, Control-J, maybe join them, or and I haven't applied the subdivision surface, so I'm not going to join them to this. That's fine. Okay, so far so good. Let's look in context now. This is what we have so far. We're getting close. It's time now to make the needle of my compass. And I have lengthened this so I can put the needle over this. And I can shorten it if I need to. And I've gone Shift S, cursor selected, so my object will be brought in right here. I'm going to bring in a plane. Bring it up and scale it. Not that much. Don't go over the center point. And bring it down a little bit. Scale it in the Y. Scale it in the X. Nice and long. I'm going to go into edit mode. And I am going to put an edge loop in right in the middle, across, and this way. And I am going to now box select all three of these points. So go Alt-M, merge at center. Box select all these points, Alt-M, merge in the center. And then I'm going to select this middle point here. Actually, before I do that, sorry, I'm going to select it all. And we're going to extrude. E to extrude, bring it up like that. Not too thick. And now I'm going to select the middle point, which was under this, and I'm going to pull it up, just like that. Okay, deselect. And I'm going to add the default beveler, 2. And I'm going to bring this down and have a look at that. Okay, and if I think that's a bit too thick, scale it in the Z, like that. And I think I will rotate it in the Z just arbitrarily like that. And there is my compass needle. I'm sort of thinking it's not quite long enough, so I'm going to come back and scale this in the X a little bit more, and then I'll rotate it in the Z. Just do that. Okay. Okay, so let's take all of this and move it back to the first layer. And have a look at this. Let's now actually take this. I'm going to rotate this down. I'm just going to rotate in the Y and then pull it centered again. Rotate in the Y a little bit more. Bring it down to about there. So it looks like it's resting on the book. Cool. Okay, it's time now to get ready for the top. Where is my top? Alt-H, are you there? Did we lose it? Did I lose the top? Wow. That's strange. Let's hide this. Yeah, I guess I did somehow. Maybe I deleted it somewhere along the line. I don't know. Well, no problem. I can take this, bring it up, rotate Y 180. I still have it there. Let's hide it again. Okay. So I want to make a hinge down here. So I've still got my cursor right in the middle. So I'm going to bring in a cylinder right there. Scale it right down. And I want to rotate X 90. I'm going to bring it over to roughly this position. And we're going to scale it again. Scale it in the Y. Actually, I think the way I want to do this, let's scale this again smaller like that. I'm going to want, sorry, I still want that centered for the moment. Scale it in the Y. I want individual pieces. I'll put a bit more detail into this. So I'm going to array this in the Y. Let's zero you out. Yeah, I guess it is that, eh? Okay. One. There, like that. Okay, so just until we see some space. 1.05 is going to be fine. I'm going to array this maybe 4 times. Let's bring this back down. And let's center this as best we can. We can center it better later. It's going to be something like that. Now I'm going to go into it. And no, I don't want to do that. Let's deselect that. Turn off the array. I'm going to select both of these faces. And I'm going to inset both at the same time. I to inset. And if it doesn't do much, I probably should. Let me redo this. Okay, if that happens, first of all, let's make sure all my polys are facing out, which they are. Let's go to Object, Apply, Rotation and Scale, and you can see that my polys flip there. So let's try that again. That face and this face. Hit I to inset, and we get quite a bit more. Let's go there and Control E. Let's bridge edge loops. Yeah, we had a problem, so here, I went over right to about there, both sides, Control E, bridge edge loops, there we go. And we're going to bevel this edge and this edge, this edge and this edge, Control B, pull back, not too much, put one segment in, maybe about there. Let's just have a look at that. Okay, it's not smooth yet or anything. Okay, now I want to also create a little cylinder inside this. And the way I'm going to do that is in edge mode. I'm going to grab this inner edge, Shift D to copy it, P to make it its own new selection, and then I'm going to find it. Set origin to geometry. Let's pull it out for a second. Let's scale it down a bit and go to edit mode, select it, F to make a face, E to extrude, and just going to pull it through. I pulled in the wrong direction, so I get these darkened polys, so I'm just going to select it all, Control N, we'll recalculate them. I'm just going to leave it there for the moment. Well, no I'm not, because I'm going to bevel. No I'm not, I'm going to bevel that later. Sorry. Alright, let's turn the array back on. Now, what have I done? Why is it going in that direction? You know what? Is because I applied scale. It really should be in the Y direction. That's why I was confused before. It was not seeming right. Geez, doesn't matter. Okay, that looks fine just like that. So now this piece is going to go in. I'm going to scale it in the Y until it pokes out just like that. Let's position this. Scale it in the Y, bring it back in a bit. Something like that's fine. So let's now, in edge mode, grab that edge and that edge, and let's bevel this. I still may want to scale it in the Y, it's sticking out a little bit too much. Just like that. Let's smooth this. Okay, sorry, I got the odd interruption. As I said, my daughter's 9.5 months, and you know, sometimes she doesn't sleep that well. My wife's up there with her, and sometimes I have to go too. And anyways, we'll see if we can get through this. This is what I have so far, and that's looking just fine. I can't remember if I beveled that edge, but you know what? I don't think it's going to matter. So I'm going to go ahead and apply that. And let's bring in the top, and let's just bring it closer. That's the general idea. You know, they would join, but I'm going to flip this over in a bit. We're almost ready for that. let's first of all put a design or two on this if I can. I want to select this and go cursor selected and bring in a little circle, a big circle right now. Let's make it a tiny circle. There we go. It's even smaller than that. Selected. I have to make face, heat extrudes, the usual stuff. And we'll bevel this. And we'll, we'll bring it down a bit. Okay. And bring it into the surface. We could smooth this as well. Let's go back to here and we'll move it up to about there. Is that where I don't even remember what the design of the other one is. Not sure it matters. It's out there, but maybe I'll make it smaller than that. And make sure that it's in even smaller than that. Barely noticeable, these things. Oh, where'd it go? I almost don't notice it. I kind of want it a bit higher than that. Alright, anyways. Let's give it a try. I'm going to go into edit mode, select it all, and choose spin over here, and that's going to be just fine. Just like that. Select them all, remove doubles, and that did get rid of a lot of vertices. And while they're selected, Control N to flip any poly. Sometimes you need to do that. Alright, so we'll have that effect. Now I'm going to join those later when I flip this, and I'll have to apply this subdivision surface. I'm not going to do that quite yet. Alright, Shift A, add another circle. I have to make face, heat extrude just a little bit. And I'm going to bring this right to about, oh, I lost it. Where'd it go? There it is. Lift this up a tiny bit. And let's try the bevel. It's probably too much. Smooth. We'll see how that works. Just to have that in there. Okay, I think I'm going to go ahead and apply that subdivision surface. And we'll join all these together. And then we'll get that effect. Actually, I could keep the smooth on, but maybe adjust the angle. I don't know. Let's see if that works. That works okay. So is that all attached? Yeah. All right, let's go ahead and rotate this. I want to go into edit mode on this object, and you can see the subdivision surface is like crazy. I may have to adjust the cylinders. Let's choose a point. Well, you know what? This may be a little awkward to rotate with the sub D on, so I think I'm just going to rotate it by eye. Rotate Y. I'm just going to do this and move it back. I was going to try to choose a better pivot point, but nah, it's not necessary really. I'm just going to go ahead and do this. Let's see what that looks like. It's not bad actually. It's such a small detail. It's going to be, I just want to make sure that they're not, the top and the bottom aren't colliding, and I think they are. I think what I need to do is this. Oh. And then bring, oh gee, this cylinder. Let's join those. Bring this back and over a bit. Just out of curiosity if I applied, yeah. think we are really close to the end, and so I am going to apply this subd, and I'm going to start joining things. And okay, hopefully that's okay. Flip by W. Why did that have to happen? It was going so well. Oh, jeez. This is crazy. Oh, jeez. No, not very good. To that point. Actually, a little bit sooner. Get these letters. Okay. I'm going to join those. Let's see. That. We had a little bit of trouble. Let's take all of these and join them all. Just the letters. I'm going to join the cylinder to that as well. All right, now you all see we do have a mesh, right? Okay, so they're joined. Let me try one more time. No, didn't have a problem there. I don't know what it was. So I think what I'll do is I'll take both of these, Shift D, and we'll duplicate them and bring them over here. And let's just work on getting this lid closed. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna do the same thing. I'll tell you why. Let's see if I can possibly. Yeah. Okay. Y180. Yeah. Okay, that's better. I'll be able to tell this way where the position is. Yeah, reasonably well anyhow. Let's bring it down. How's that look? That looks pretty good, tell you the truth. I think I'm gonna go with that. Join them together. And let's rotate in the Z. Oh, we are close to finishing up this model. Yeah, it's more like a postcard than anything, than an actual page. You'd extrude just a little bit. We'll see if we can put the default bevel on there. I'll just do it like that. Rotate the Z, do something like this. Let's take everything and do that. Nah, let's not bother with that. All right, if if you just compare to the original, I guess I didn't do this little spot here. Okay, my pencil's somewhat smaller. We can adjust that. Scaling the Y, leave it kind of fat. All right, but there's the model, or the bunch of models. All right, you can come over here, flip this up to 100, and do a quick OpenGL render. And that was it. Thanks for watching.